Anyway, let's come to our conversation for this hour. And we want to talk about the Competition Authority. We've been reading about them lately in the news and some of the big moves that they've been making. So, for example, Felaris, there's a story we talked about supermarkets.
Yes.
Ebu read.
Ilikuwa hapa front page of the Business Daily. This was on July 21st. It was a Tuesday. That the Competition Authority is probing supermarkets over misleading price tags, and the watchdog has forced retailers to refund overcharged users. And a number of supermarkets were found in breach of prices. So, promotion of products in these select supermarkets, what was going on, and buyers complaining of incorrect pricing at the registry, with the complaints, hinged on sticker prices being lower compared with the product cost at the cashier.
So at the sticker, the price of this thing is 20 bob.
Yeah.
Then they put a sticker up there showing 40 bob. Cancel. Was 40, now 20.
Yeah.
It has never gone to 40, really.
Ama, you get to the register, it had been marked X price at the register.
At the till, ding, ding.
Unashindo,
Your charge.
bill ni 5,000 kwa nini? Because of that.
All right. Adano Rio is a director for policy and research at the Competition Authority, and he's here to talk to us about the work that they do and how they do it and what we should be looking out for as consumers. Adano, good morning.
Good morning to you, Latif.
It's good to have you here.
Pleasure.
As we begin our conversation, what we always do is we welcome our guests with some heavy words to anchor the conversation. And now these are words that were said by somebody somewhere some time ago. And Felaris is going to give you today's quote, tell you who said it, and then let's hear, do you actually agree with that person? Or if it doesn't make sense, just say, that person must have been in another planet.
Karibu sana. Today's quote is courtesy of a Nigerian novelist and poet called Ben Okri. The quote reads, "The world has no side from which it may be approached," and said, "I know it." The world has no side from which it may be approached, and said, "I know it." How does that speak to you?
Literally, it means that there are different ways of looking at world, and therefore it all depends on the context within which you can look at that world that has no way of looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Well said. At least you align with the person.
I do.
Yeah.
At least it makes sense.
I do,
Sometimes we just hear a quote and you're like,
Yo.
or just say, I don't agree with that person.
Yeah.
Their view, no. Adano,
Yes.
the Competition Authority, just briefly introduce the Competition Authority to our audience, anybody who has not heard about it. What is it and what's your mandate, briefly? And is it legal or is it just an association of people who come together to fight others?
Thank you, Latif. The Competition Authority was established under Competition Act in 2010, and then it became effective in 2011. And the authority is established under Section 7 of the Competition Act. The primary mandate of the authority is to look at competition in the market, as well as looking at what are the benefits of that competition in the market to consumers, as an ultimate objective of why competition matters to any economy. That's in principle the main mandate of the authority. Dual mandate of competition in the market, how businesses behave in the specific market of interest, and how those conducts of businesses may affect consumers and also affect economy largely. Right.
Okay. So it's a legal body.
Yes, it is.
And what powers does it have?
It has several powers. One is to look at trade practices. If those practices restrict entry by players who like to enter a specific market. It can be paint sector, it can be milk sector, it can be coffee sector. Is the restriction for anybody to enter that market by regulation that exists by specific agencies? That's one of them. The other one is look at mergers. Parties who like to buy another company or acquire another company. And then in that case, what will be the effect of one company buying another for that particular market? Will that acquisition or merger substantially affect or lessen competition in the market? because the primary aim is to have more players in the market and therefore more competition for the benefit of innovation, efficiency in the market, and therefore lower prices for consumers, as well as more choices in the market.
Yeah.
The assumption is the more players in the market, it can be also bread market, for example. If there are more bread makers or bakeries across the country, you will find you have more choice. And because of that competition, the prices will be relatively lower for some based on their production efficiency for a given farm. For consumers, then if you choose the bread brand, which suits your income or pocket. Right. And then the other one is on, those are two, strict trade practices and mergers and acquisition. The other core mandate is what we refer to as buyer power, looking at the relationship between suppliers of supermarkets or retailers and their relationship in trade. How do these two parties trade together under certain arrangement that they have entered into? So we do look at those terms of contract between the supermarkets and the suppliers of the products are fair in the market, the way we define competition. So those are the core mandates, but we do have other mandate that supports those core mandates, like research and policy, looking at what are information available in a given market that we don't know yet, that can be used to inform policy in the market.
This one of the buyer power. I run a supermarket, all right?
Right.
And of course, supermarket has many things, from groceries to meat to foodstuff to whatever, very many other products, including maybe even electronics. So all of them are different suppliers.
Right.
What is it that you're coming to regulate? I mean, I am running a supermarket. I determine what I want to stock in my supermarket, and then I call for suppliers, and I set my standards. I want a supplier who's able to give me this number of units, this regularly. And I want a supplier who's going to accept that I'll be paying them after 6 months. They accept, they bring. They don't accept my terms, why not supermarketing in? It's okay. Where do you come in?
Where we come in, that's what you are saying is true in the sense of contractual arrangement between suppliers and retailers, which are supermarket basically. There are certain contractual arrangements that they enter into within those contracts. A supplier will be interested in having specific terms in those contracts. And of course, in most cases, the supermarkets have power over suppliers, because suppliers would like to supply their products to a supermarket that is doing well, that is paying well on time. So in those contracts, there are specific issues that we look into in terms of payment. After how long, when do we deliver a product, will we be paid? What are the terms in the contract, and who will change the terms in the contract? Are there rebates or discounts that you offer in those contracts? So in those contracts, are those rebates specified in the contract, or they are applied from time to time?
Okay.
Which is like promotion. You can bring promotion from time to time, but not include it in the contract. So more specifically looking at now the issue around delayed payment, if it's a perishable product, we are sure if you supply milk, for instance, which is a perishable, or a fruit, which is perishable, maybe in the contract they have said we are going to pay you after 30 days. And we know milk will not last on the shelf for 30 days. Right?
Yes.
So if they don't pay within those specified times, then there are issues that the suppliers or retailers, or SMEs as they are also called, will not survive, because you are supplying for extended period of time, you are not paid. How will you grow your business, or how do you survive in business that you are in when you are not paid?
And it's very likely that the supermarket sold the product.
Yes.
So they already got the money.
Yes.
So they're using my money to trade.
And sometimes also, just to follow up on that, is they can return your products when you bring at the doorstep.
Okay.
They can tell you, okay, today we are not taking your product. And yet, at the back end, you have developed branding for the product, and they are meant for specific supermarket, and they are there to deliver, and they tell you, no, we are not going to take today. So those are the issues we look at. Yes, it's contractual arrangement between suppliers and retailers, but then there are terms in the contract which are not fair from perspective of competition.
I see the buyer power bit. Because let's say a supplier, I'm a small trader who's just doing mayai.
Yeah.
Right? So I go to the farms, I collect mayai from people, bring together, clean, whatever, sort, put them in trays, and I have a contract to supply to Ferrari supermarket.
Yeah.
Ferrari supermarket is big, has many branches. So you have the power. So if you can decide one day to just slap me and tell me pesa yangu where can
You stay with your eggs.
so that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
It is the fact that I am a small trader and this is a big person.
Yes, big person.
So you are now coming to make sure that the big person does not gandamiza the small
The
person.
small
And
one.
abuse their power.
Yeah.
I'm curious, the scope of the watchdog, how far does it extend in terms of, because we usually hear the conversation around the competition authority when it comes to big players in the market. Does its scope extend to small businesses? I'm thinking if I have a small shop in my estate that, and probably a couple other shops in different estates.
Right.
Is that well within the watchdog scope?
Yes, it is entirely, and also covers the authority covers the entire sector of of our economy.
Okay.
And that's basically competition practice across the globe, and we are not unique in that sense. But what happens in such instances is that for small scale traders, businesses, SMEs, or Wanjiku as we also call them, that if there's unfair treatment in that market, we do receive complaints.
Okay.
That now becomes under complaint, one-on-one, that individuals can complain to the authority that are being mistreated because of 1, 2, 3, that have not been paid or have been overcharged for even loans, for example, that you go to a bank and you negotiate a loan, but there are hidden costs in there that you are not being explained. But you are small in business. Your scale of operation is small.
Yeah.
You are not, the like of retailers and big supermarkets, but you still have redress from within the authority, but from a different perspective in terms of competition, looking at what are the consumer complaints that can be addressed within the consumer complaint on one-on-one basis. And we have seen over the years, the numbers have been growing for consumer complaints.
Yeah.
From, when we were established in 2011 to the extent of 900 and plus today.
Okay.
So those numbers have been growing, and that's cut across all sectors. And it doesn't have the limitation on the scope
Of the kind of
the business you operate.
I'm curious because let's say Ferraris today decides I want to become a fashion designer. I draw up sketches that are an original creation. And this is actually something that I've observed happen. So I go on, put in the investment to go produce these garments, come in, set up my online shop. I start selling and, my retail price is 5,000 shillings for this garment. Now, somebody looks at my website, my designs, goes, replicates, and produces en masse and comes and sells at 2,500 shillings. Where does the competition authority come in there?
It can come in terms of the complaints to us, but that seems to border on intellectual property in terms of design and how you have put your intellectual input into that process and designed something that is unique and might not be there. That borders on our intellectual property right that you can design, and therefore you need to have copyright for what you do. But from our perspective, we can receive the complaint, but also give advice. That's the thing we do. And this is all for free in terms of what we do as a government agency, that we look at the case before and the content and the substance in terms of information that you have, and we'll be able to direct you to the relevant government institutions who have the core mandate in terms of what you have just said.
Okay.
So we also do that, not only receiving complaint and giving remedy internally, we can also give advice and give direction in terms of where do you need to go for that kind of complaint.
Okay. Now, we'll talk about the ride-hailing and some proposals later, but after the break. For now, I want to stick to this one, the story that we wrote and the one that Ferraris was reading, right? So, from what we read here, the Competition Authority found that there were some supermarkets that were advertising a price of product here, but that's not what they were actually billing. Or in some cases, that they have put a price here and claimed that there is a discount, while in actual sense there is no discount.
Right.
How did you get to this? Did people tell you? Is it that Adano went to the supermarket himself and akapigia watu simu, kujeni mwangalie? How did you begin this particular job?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very interesting case, and there are different ways of receiving such complaint. One is Latif can go to a supermarket and find a product as promotion, or they cancel a price and then give another price, which is a discount. And what normally happens for that kind of discount, it could also be having expiry date. So the nearer the expiry date, then you give promotion to
move the product.
To move the product. That's one option. The other option is where there's a promotion, and the promotion says this is the price, but in actual sense they are not affected. The price change.
The till.
The till. So there's a difference between the sticker price on the shelf and the cashier price.
Okay.
So that can happen in the sense that one, is deliberate, and two, it might be a mistake. But we don't know which might be relevant in which instance. So in that case, we look at the complaint itself, and this could also be a very keen customer that who looks at the price they offer and they're interested in discount, but promotional discount, but the price is not what is reflected. So I think it requires a lot of attention from us as consumers in terms of when we buy a discounted product or product on promotion, that the price on the shelf also should be the price at the cashier.
Okay.
And that's how we do it. And the other option is we can actually, if we get indication ourselves that the price is different, then we go out and find out, is it unique to this particular product or is cut across the entire sector? And therefore, when it's a specific product, then it's limited to that particular complaint, and therefore we remedy that. But if it's cutting across different retailers or sellers, then we look at what does remedy require for the sector as a whole, as opposed to when we are giving remedy to an individual customer or consumer.
Okay. So do you go across all supermarkets or do you sample some supermarkets?
We sample supermarkets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then once you found it, then what do you do? What does your power, where does your power extend?
One is first thing is to identify. Once you have identified, then we bring those cases and do analysis. This is factual. There is clear information in support of complaint, and therefore we reach out to the retailers and that this is what has happened and this should not happen again. So in that case, competition in most cases also like consumer issues is not punitive. It's to ensure compliance with what is stated as true information. So in that case, then we ensure that there's a compliance program moving forward that this should not happen. And therefore we redress by giving compliance to these parties and also monitor moving forward. And also put it out there for others to see as well.
There's no penalty?
There are instances where there is no penalty. When we do investigation, there are penalties. But there are instances also where we see that the amount in difference is very little compared to a product. And then we ensure there is compliance moving forward. So there are two ways, settlement through penalty or also just giving advice and remedying the compensation.
How about compensation? So if I have basically been here, I can prove that yesterday, the day before today, when you have found that these guys have been doing this, yesterday I had gone to this particular supermarket and I bought this product at this price. Should you not be fighting for me to be compensated?
Actually, it happens. You're right.
Because waliiba pesa yangu, in long and short, is that they stole. They robbed me.
It actually happens. There, I give an example of what we have done in the financial sector, for example, where certain financial institutions overcharge on discount they have given before. Or even digital lenders overcharge borrowers. So in such instances, we do both. We compel them to refund the difference in the amount they have overcharged and also penalize them. Depending on what is the turnover or the amount of money that particular product has and penalize on those accounts. So we can also do both. in certain instances. But it's case-by-case basis that we either do both or just one.
Based on what?
It's based on...
in all cases that you find that there has been a breach, there's a consumer who most likely has suffered. If you sit in to protect the consumer, then the consumer who's already suffered deserves redress.
That's the redress I'm talking about, that if you're overcharged, the excess in amount of loan that you borrowed or overcharge, you'll be compensated.
Yeah, but you're saying that depends, that will be on a case-by-case basis. And I'm saying it should not be on case-by-case basis, it should be on all cases. If you found that there's a breach actually in competition practices in this particular area, then there must be a victim somewhere.
Correct.
That victim deserves their pound of flesh.
The case base I meant is that those instances on digital lenders have been given, we have both options to penalize and also to pay back.
Okay.
But the instance where the amount is very little, 50 cents, 20 shillings, that kind of discrepancy, then in that case, even analyzing the case costs more. But we do recognize that it means a lot to the consumer. But therefore, it's good to ensure that moving forward, that retailers or lenders comply with those provisions. So that's what I meant by case, but that this case might require penalty, this case might require pay of the consumer, or this case might require redress through enforcement of compliance program by the authority.
We'll be right back with Adano Wario, who is Director of Policy and Research at the Competition Authority of Kenya. So much to discuss, including what we're seeing with the taxi hailing services and what that could potentially look like in terms of competition. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Huyu anafanya kazi ya kubeba watu na taxi katika ujenzi wa taifa. We'll ask a question on his behalf shortly.
Yeah.
There's apparently a bill that is called the Competition Amendment Bill that contains some aspects of the taxi business. But send us your WhatsApp Nation video on 0769 590 762. That's 0769 590 762. As we continue our conversation with the Director of Policy and Research at the Competition Authority, Dr. Adano Wario. Some questions and comments on our platforms. Mafixers wanakuwa na maswali kadhaa na wanasema wa vitu kadhaa. Please ask CAK why it hasn't scrutinized competition concerns in Kenya's shipping sector. The Kenya Maritime Authority's 2023 notice cited high destination charges and abuse of dominance. What action has CAK taken? You'll see if you're aware of that. If you're not, tell us. This is Francis Mawai, who was asked that question twice. Janga Njogu, if this organization is to make productivity competitive, to protect consumers, why aren't they taking action to encourage competition on Kenya Power? Okay? I assume one of the things is about addressing monopoly. And part of the reasons that you also regulate mergers and acquisitions is to look at monopolization of sectors. Steve Okech, if I create an app that offers similar services to, say, M-Pesa, but relies on their network offering services with zero transaction charges, am I protected? Should they choose to block me from their network? So I create a service that will compete with a service that Safaricom is offering. But I want it to be,
and it's on their network.
I'm relying on their network.
Yeah.
Would I be protected, or what kind of protections would I get? Start with that last one.
Thank you. The one on platform app, I think that is a kind of integration between
the network provider?
Yeah, network provider and platform. And the sort of protection that this particular complainant or individuals looking for is, will that reliance on that app give them more advantage than other competitors in similar network? Because the idea is to, within a given network, which we can call market, that it should not give you competitive advantage, and therefore rely on a network like
say a mobile network,
and therefore you are not integrated, you are not in the same entity. You have to have some arrangement with the network and the platform, and therefore it will be governed by what sort of arrangement do we have with. And we cannot penalize platform because of interest of an individual.
Can you come, just the same way you looked at the buyer power
Yes.
with the supermarkets, can the buyer power aspect come in here? Where, yes, some of the services that I'm offering, I'm relying on, the mobile network to actually make sure that I'm available.
Yeah.
And then that the arrangement that I'm making with them to make sure that then I am visible, I'm available, I'm accessible, will depend on whether they want to nyonga me or not.
I think the relationship will define what sort of arrangement they have, and if there are contractual arrangement between the network and the platform, then it will fit within that. But certainly what we look at then is what is the arrangement and what additional benefit or advantage is this particular entity looking for. And I think once it's brought to us, then we can look at it and say, okay, does it fit within not consumer, but within the buyer power? And buyer power means that in that case, we are looking at who has more power and what is the arrangement, and can that arrangement be linked to individuals? Can we identify the relationship between them first? Then we can take it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I can see something like that happening recently. Just giving an example, and anything that sounds related is actually not related. Right? So I come up with a service that is actually helping people to save money through mobile. So I have an app. It's allowing people and encouraging people to actually save money by buying into a money market fund. And then Ferraris enters into a deal with the mobile network to have theirs promoted. And I'm having the same. Now, would that put me at a disadvantage? Of course, because the mobile network is basically just branding itself and saying, save money, put money into this particular fund with Ferraris. I also have the same fund that I've been running on that platform.
There's something they call favored client or favored treatment for one over the other.
Yeah.
That kind of arrangement it could be restricting the sense that it excludes others, and it could be looking at a point of barrier to entry, that you are being restricted, excluded from that market, yet you qualify given all other requirements that is required for that relationship. So I think in that case then it does qualify, and therefore that exclusion of one party from the other is something that can be considered. And also, of course, in this case, we can look at also other regulators. Are there other regulators beside competition authority, which in most cases look at conduct?
Okay.
Relationship between parties and how parties behave in the market. Because competition in itself, the analysis of competition is looking at after a conduct.
Okay.
So we say you have no intention, you have an intention but you have not acted on it. We want to collude, we want to engage each other, but we have not done yet. So it's a conduct that is what in other words we call ex post. But there are also other regulators who will look at policy issues or regulation issues beside competition authority, and also for different sectors. So it could be relevant, an issue that can be brought to us, and because of our relationship with other regulators, we can also refer to them and look at, from your perspective, given your mandate, and this seems to be your primary mandate, can you look at this particular case and give us feedback?
Has competition become hard to regulate as we get into this conversation with the ride-hailing apps, that businesses have become very decentralized, so they're now operating on an online market space? Is the competition authority keeping up with, this fast change in space, or are we now looking at a situation where the authority is, sort of like not catching up with where things are heading?
That's a very good question, and also it has been one of the emerging areas in competition, particularly if you look at digital market and digital platforms. And the other characteristic of this particular market is very dynamic. Things change very rapidly.
Yes.
And therefore, the way we look at competition has to be supported by the law that we mentioned at the beginning of this discussion, that does the law provide for this specific for us to regulate. Anything outside that will not be able to enforce. Therefore, given the digital nature of these changes and therefore the rapid evolving market in this space, may it be on delivery, e-commerce and all these areas, has been challenging for competition issues across the globe, within Europe, Australia, UK, US, all these markets. But our approach, first and foremost, is to ensure that there's cooperation of these digital activities within the law. And actually, as we speak, we have developed proposals for amendments that have gone through all the process of development, stakeholder participation, and now it's before the National Assembly for discussion and enactment. And it has gone through readings, and therefore we'll see. But the fact is that what I would like to mention is we mentioned these proposals some years back, and things have already changed.
Yes.
Therefore, we are trying to keep up with this rapid technology and all that. But the other beauty I can mention is technology itself, where digital market and platform use enables what people do and also enhances efficiency.
Yeah.
So that's the other beauty about it. But I think in terms of regulation, what the law provides, how we want to attend to that, is what we are proposing to give it power first before we can effectively enforce. Yeah.
So at the moment, and that even forms a very good way for us to get into this, this is on, where's the date for this? It's one of the pieces of news we covered last week. For some reason, the date is missing on it.
Yeah. 26th July.
Yeah. It's, on the matters, Friday, 24th July. We had to get the date right.
Yes.
On the ride-hailing platforms, who could get a reprieve on how fares and commissions are set under the proposed new competition rules aimed at curbing the abuse of market power. Now, we've seen, these days, the drivers lobbying and asking for higher fees. There's what government comes in to say, okay, as a transport sector, maybe we need to regulate, just how much power these platforms have.
Yeah.
Then there's the competition authority that's coming in to say that, yes, we agree we need to regulate these platforms. What does this proposal look like?
In terms of our role in hailing apps and taxis that have been there, in the initial stage when they came to the market, we were actually part of the task force that look at issues around should they be allowed vis-a-vis the traditional taxis. Our position was that these are innovation, therefore there's benefit for consumers. As you recall, traditional taxi used to charge both ways.
Yeah.
Now you are charged one way. So that is good for consumers, and all of us are consumers.
Yeah.
And that is the basis on which we said, okay, they are not predatory in the way they are determined prices, but they are good. And that's how we actually gave a recommendation for them to be licensed and also come into the market. And also what we see today is as a result of that decision then. But in terms of regulation, the main challenge on hailing apps has been two issues. One is the platforms, where they are. And second is the commission between the vehicle owner or the driver. It's not all instances where the driver is the owner of the vehicle. So the challenge has been even how to put them at the initial stages. Are they in labor law or are they under transport? But if we now take the direction of transport, then in terms of regulation and how to set regulatory prices, therefore, is to look at what are the prices that can be set to allow negotiation between parties. And therefore, there has to be room for negotiation between parties on how they set. That price should not be rigid, that it does not allow negotiation.
Cannot only just be set by one.
Yes. Yeah. So that's how we look at it. And in some other sectors also, we have looked at set maximum prices.
Okay.
And then people can negotiate now. You cannot go beyond that. And depending on what is your input factor of production, you can now say, okay, I give you discount on 10 and I give you discount on 20, depending on which platform you are looking at. And that's why you see on some of the app, if you go from point A to B, sometimes you're given a discount.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's what is happening actually. So that allows you to negotiate and also give discount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, where does the driver come in?
The driver is providing service is not, in this case, then what we are saying is not the owner of the vehicle.
Right?
But is driving the vehicle.
Okay.
So it has to be an arrangement between the owner of the vehicle.
The owner of the app.
And the app is with the owner of the vehicle.
Okay.
The driver is with the vehicle owner.
Ah.
So they are integrated platform, vehicle owner, the driver.
And then now the
customer.
consumer.
Yes,
the customer.
Yes.
I see. So how would that work out? If you go ahead with setting this, and on the other side, the Ministry of Transport and NTSA are trying also to negotiate with them on the regulation of the base price, would these two pieces of legislation or these two pieces of action not be, fighting one another?
The policy for regulation, I think, will come in, and our role will be look at what does the policy or the legislation stipulate in terms of specific clauses. And at that point, as an authority and also government agency, we can provide our input. What are competition issues? Ours will mostly be on competition issues. How is it fair for this arrangement to exist? And how do we come in to also play a role in regulating this market? So at that point, when the legislation is ready for stakeholder participation and also review, we're able to present our view based on competition and consumer issues before the committee relevant for that amendment.
What does the current enforcement framework look like as far as the Competition Authority and the platforms? At present, what does it look like?
At present, what we have looked at particularly is, for example, on online delivery.
Okay.
We looked at the border, the franchise, and then the platforms. We did initial analysis of that market, and there are different arrangements between different platforms, and therefore you cannot say they have actually agreed and set prices among themselves, but they individually set prices for themselves, and also commission for themselves, and that's what Competition Authority will encourage for parties to do. That Latif, Adano, and other friends will not agree on what commission to give to individuals, and therefore we can individually decide to give. And then we have also seen that the advantage with the hailing apps is that you can be on multiple platforms. Yeah, it's called homing. You can have different platforms, and then you can switch on one at a time, switch off the other time. So it allows you diversify
your income stream. It's a free market. It's a free market, and you can be anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think what the drivers have been have been pushing here is a way in which they also have a say in how much Eric is charged. So Eric gets onto his platform, asks for a cab, wants to go to say Ngong Road. Okay. App does its calculation, tells Eric, I'll get you a ride and it'll cost you this much.
Right.
Then he tells Adano, there's a guy called Eric, go pick him from Nation Center, take him to Ngong Road.
Yeah.
This is how much he's going to pay you.
Yeah.
Either he'll give you cash or he'll pay by card, I'll give you the money later, and I'll take my percentage, which is 18%, blah, 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 and go on.
Yeah.
And the driver is like, but I think I should also have a say here on how much we should charge Eric.
I think the way the algorithm work is looking at the distance and the timing, if it's peak, off-peak, on all those issues are calculated using information available for that locations. And the driver, in principle, should have good relationship with the vehicle owner, if he's not the owner in that case. But in principle, I think they cannot set their prices. The drivers should not, dictate what they shall, because there's no limit to in terms of what the driver should demand.
Correct.
And that's not within the market. So I think price setting by driver in this case, what it seems like, is not how the market operates.
It's not how this particular, you can price set by not being on the app.
Yes, exactly.
You advertise your services, paint your cab,
Yes.
and let Eric have your number, call you, and ask you, nataka fela unipeleke Ngong Road, utanilipisha ngapi? We negotiate like that.
Yes.
So we just
But as long as you're using Adano's app,
platform.
then okay. Let's talk about monopolies, shall we? Because one of the questions here is about monopolies.
Yes.
And I'm sure one of the things that you do is to make sure that there's no monopolistic behavior in the market.
Right.
How do you do that? How do you regulate that? What do you call a monopoly?
Monopoly is a monopoly. And
Only one operating in the market?
Or even tending towards monopoly in terms of when there are dominant players in that market, or if there's only one player in the market. The way the economy is structured is two ways. One is where government have general public interest in terms of how a given sector operates, given the significance of that sector in the national economy. They are called natural monopolies. So in that case, government have leeway of setting certain rules for certain market, and also through what they call economic regulation or policy guidance ahead of what is anticipated, give recommendation of how do we want this market to operate, and how do we want to set it. Do we open it up for private sector, or because of the significance of this market, set rules on how this is done? But then the main challenge is not even setting those natural monopolies, because government has leeway and we cannot regulate government as an authority, but we can facilitate in terms of providing advice how that can be done. Therefore, monopolies are such that they might not be because of market operation or price setting or anything, but because it could be just governance issue.
Could be a policy issue.
Yes, policy issue.
Like now in the issue of power distribution.
Yes, exactly.
So power distribution is because the government has not yet opened up
to
space for others to come and
private
practice.
sectors. Yes,
I see.
And then, but there's also another thing I would like to add. There's something they call competitive neutrality. That the way the competition authority look at competition should be neutral in terms of looking at conduct across different players. May it be monopolies or other players. And actually, I can give an example of what we did, that one of the energy regulators procured poles, wooden poles. So this is a government agency, but they are sourcing it from a third party. And the misconduct was not with the government agency, but with the suppliers.
Why?
Because of tender issue, how they were tendered. So they were colluding in terms of how who is going to supply poles to the authority or to the regulator in this case.
So the suppliers colluded among themselves?
Yes, so that the three of us sit down when the tender is out and say, okay, we have expertise in this, but this is very competitive. Why don't we agree now, when you are developing, you set your price, you are the one who's going to get.
Okay.
You set your bid low.
The lowest.
I bid highest, you bid higher than me. We are the only three in the market. And we know each other.
So we agree, kazi tunapatia Eric.
Eric achukue hii.
Achukue hii.
I mean, that sounds okay. I mean, someone is benefiting from it. Show me where the problem is.
If the competition is okay.
Yeah. We sit down and we agree.
Why is the
this my
competition
time to
authority
eat.
unhacked?
What is happening is this. In terms of setting tender prices or setting market prices, it should be individually set. That's competition.
Okay.
But when we agree, that's collusion.
It's cartel-like behavior.
Bid rigging, they call it.
Bid rigging.
Bid rigging.
Because my lowest price could actually be higher than could ever be.
That could ever be,
Exactly.
yeah.
We've already agreed that lowest price could have 1,000 yet.
Exactly. It happens, actually.
I will-
and it's not value for
I will
money.
charge at 1,000. I mean, I'll charge at 2,000, but we know I'll supply these things at 500.
200.
Right?
Exactly.
So hii pesa ingine ya juu tunagawana. No. So we've all won the tender. But at a higher price.
You know, they'll say something like a win is a win. And we will have the competition authority back here as we, get into matters cartels. We had the story on Mattress Gate and how manufacturers within that space then colluded to set prices that, this is what it is we're going to put out in the retail market. And how then we end up risking disturbing the ecosystem as it should be when it comes to competition.
Yeah.
At what point does a company become too successful that it brings in the risk of, such a disruption that the consumer is the one who draws the short end of the stick? There's so much to discuss.
There's a lot. Actually, that one was in March, where 6 major foam mattress manufacturers and distributors across counties, Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu, and Kisumu, were raided for suspected cartel conduct. The investigation is still ongoing with the Competition Authority.
That's right. It's still ongoing, and we are still we've gotten the information required for our analysis. Once we finish with the analysis, we engaged the companies,
the 6.
and also hear them out. And therefore, once we conclude with that process, then we make our final decision. And our procedures are set very clearly. It goes through case officers, it goes to management, and once the management is satisfied that we have enough evidence, sufficient evidence to support our cases, information to support our case, then we progress it to board, and the board has final say. And once that happens, at that point then we have had out the players or alleged companies, and the board will now decide based on look at what are the evidence presented and we make our decision.
And they can be penalized.
But that means it's still ongoing.
Still ongoing.
Still on that process.
What I'd like to hear, Dr. Wario, is at the end of it all, people who bought mattresses were paying mattresses free compensation.
Labda hizo ndio mattress zilienda Olkalao.
Dr. Adano Wario is the Director for Policy and Research at the Competition Authority. Keep it here. In the next hour, Shika Mike. We have our Shika Mike fixer who's coming, who is saying political parties in this country have become dictatorships. And we must break that dictatorship of political parties. You want to hear more? Keep it here for that, 9 a.m.